latest on July 19th around the wide world of tropics. Here's your tropical weather bulletin. The main feature right now is Tropical Storm Danas off the coast of China in the East China Sea with a large wind field. A tropical storm that's headed for the Korean peninsula. We're delivering large amounts of rain to some of the Japanese islands. Elsewhere around the world, in the Atlantic, no storms are active at this time. It's day 49 and we're looking out for our next system, not forthcoming just yet. The Eastern Pacific has two systems active, 97 and 98E. Both of them have a moderate chance of development. In the Western Pacific, Tropical Storm Danas is skirting just east of China, and 91W has tropical storm force winds but is yet to receive a circulation and therefore tropical storm designation. No storms are active in the southern hemisphere right now, and probably not anytime soon, fingers crossed. Tropical Storm Danas currently has winds of 45 miles per hour and a pressure of 986 millibars just off the coast of China. A rather low pressure for its pretty meager wind speed, 117 miles from Zhoushan, China, 29 north, 123.8 east. Most of the convective activity and the strongest winds are on the eastern side of the storm, so bear this in mind when we watch the track here into South Korea as a tropical storm most likely, and then weakening to a tropical depression, moving out towards the northeast by next week. With a large wind field, large amounts of rain falling on the eastern side, effects could extend all the way up to Kyushu in Japan, and all of the Ryukyu Islands are already being impacted here, some of them with tropical storm force winds. Here's the wind shear graphic, rather low wind shear amounts near the center of the storm, rising towards the east. And you can also see how it's been progressing here as well, generally progressing towards the north or maybe a slight eastward element in there. In the North Atlantic, things are looking pretty quiet. There's one or two little tropical waves out there in the main development region at low latitude, but they're still being cut off by dry air and Saharan dust. The Saharan dust itself is mainly near Africa, but little pieces of it are being brought along towards the Lesser Antilles. The Gulf of Mexico here looking very quiet, thunderstorms bubbling up over Florida. The Eastern Pacific looks like this, 97 and 98E, both just about on the screen, and you can see how they're faring right now. Not too well by the looks of things at the minute, and that's why they're not likely to form in the short term, 2 days, but in the next 5 days, National Hurricane Center are giving both of them moderate chances. Central Pacific looking quiet. Western Pacific here, some flare-ups there, might be what's left of 99W, not sure. And then as we scoot on over further towards the left-hand side, further west, you can see Danas and 91W, which could become, has a good chance of becoming our next named storm in the Western Pacific. That one could go on to affect Taiwan. The Australia and South Pacific region looks like this, very quiet at this time. You can see just one or two little flare-ups near Fiji, but really very little going on. The Indian Ocean, pretty similar tale. You can just about make out 91W right on the right-hand edge of that screen, but in the Indian Ocean region itself, very quiet, monsoonal pattern really, not too much to talk about. The Eastern Pacific has warm sea surface temperatures at this time underneath those two invests, around 28 to maybe even 30 degrees Celsius. The Atlantic remaining warm and getting much warmer now in the Sargasso Sea. That looks like the hot spot there, 30 degrees plus out there. Looking out towards the Indian Ocean, temperatures still remaining fairly warm, on the cooling trend just a little bit, 28 to 30 degrees. The South China Sea is very warm underneath 91W, 30 degrees Celsius, and the Philippine Sea, a little bit cooler where Danas has been further east. The Mariana Islands is where it's at for heat, 30 or 31 degrees along that chain. Here's some close-up imagery of Tropical Storm Danas. ASCAP Pass suggests that winds are no higher than 45 miles per hour. The Japanese Meteorological Agency going with 50 miles per hour. Certainly has a very broad wind field, and that is what's keeping it quite a threat and could cause some extensive damage. Looking at the naming lists, the next name in the Atlantic will be Chantal. On the Eastern Pacific side, we're looking out for Delilah. The Central Pacific's next name is Akoni. Over in the Western Pacific, the next named storm could be about to form. It will be named Nari if it gets that status, followed by Wifa. In the North Indian Ocean, Hika is next on their naming list, list 8. You can find Force 13's outlets, the website force13.com with the latest, our YouTube page, search Force 13 all in text if you're not there already, subscribe if you haven't so far, and you can find our Facebook and Twitter pages, search Force 13 all in text. That's all from us for now. We'll have another tropical weather bulletin tomorrow. You can also help the project become even better by becoming a patron. You can see more information about all the benefits involved by visiting patreon.com/Force13. You can also contact me on Discord. It's Fool13 at extension 9094 and Force13 on Skype. You can also find our server link to our Discord server for tropical weather chat in our description.